sometimes sad, she's sometimes happy. She's doing things to make her life less crappy. Trying a treatment that's new on the scene. Let's sit back and talk about ketamine.
Yeah, let's sit back and talk about ketamine. We have a really fun episode for you today. We talk about how to make the most of the 72 hours following a high-dose ketamine experience and why those 72 hours are so important. There's also a good number of random tangents. We have a request for you, which is that if you're enjoying this podcast, please head to patreon.com/ketamine insights and sign up to help us keep it going. That's it. Enjoy the show. Hey, Lynn, how you doing?
Hey, Molly. Pretty good. How you doing?
Good. I love how we have to pretend we haven't been talking for 20 minutes. Anyway, so welcome everybody else to Ketamine Insights,
Welcome.
a podcast about ketamine therapy. Today's topic, unbeknownst to Lynn, because I never sent her the information. Sorry
all
about
right.
that.
I like surprises.
Is the 72 hours after an infusion. So first of all, let's just say, please reach out to us. Let us know how we're doing, what you think, ideas for the podcast, all kinds of anything you feel like letting us know. We are at ketamineinsights@gmail.com. And we're also on Instagram at Ketamine Insights. So anyway, that stuff out of the way. Yeah, we're going to talk about basically the 3 days after an infusion. The reason that is like it matters at all is because we know that your brain is more elastic during that time, which is like more of a big deal than you might think because of the way what do they say? Like, what's the saying? Have you heard the saying, Lynn? Like neurons that, what is it? Fire together, wire together.
What did you say? Neurons that fire together do what together?
Wire together, something like that.
I thought you were going to say stay together, but kind of the same idea, right?
Right. I was for some reason you made me think of like families that have dinner together stay together. What's that? There's another one like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, your brain is really like habit.
Yeah.
It depends on habits a lot.
Yeah.
And so you can easily like fall into ruts if the habits are not ideal. So if you have a habit of like, being mean to yourself, like your internal monologue is quite mean, it can be difficult to change that habit because your brain kind of falls back into it over and over again.
So this is like with or without ketamine, right? This is just
exactly. That's just
rule
kind
of thumb, whether it's like how you treat yourself, what you're raising children, just in general, like, neurons that fire together, wire together. That sounds right. Yeah, I was like stay together, but I think you're right. Wire together. That's right. How you talk to yourself, how you talk to your children, how you treat yourself. Yeah, that's right.
And whether you like, look on the bright side or like all kinds of mental habits, whether you attack something analytically or more emotionally or more, all kinds of mental habits like that tend to
you're actually
solidify.
like forming neural pathways, right?
Yeah.
And that continues as you get older. It's not like, now that I'm a certain age, like my behaviors and these patterns are already formed and I am the way I am. Like you can keep forming, right?
Totally.
New pathways.
Yeah. I guess like only like 5 years ago is when we started discovering that your brain is still elastic. I don't know why they thought that you're basically stuck with your teenage brain or 25-year-old brain for the rest of your life, but they did. And now they're learning that there is still like, it's very possible to make changes in those like wired, quote unquote, wired together neurons. And one of the things that can help you do that, like really profoundly, is ketamine.
Oh, that's cool.
So during those 72 hours is when your brain is like most able to change those habits. And because your brain is like more elastic than it normally is on a given day as a grown up.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's really like an opportunity that I think
more than on a normal day than you are normally as a grown up.
As a grown up, yeah, because like kids have more elastic.
It's like being a
brains
kid again.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's exciting.
It is actually a lot like being a kid again because you're also more like kind of whimsical in my experience.
Okay. So like,
and they say like
go to the playground and play on the swings.
Completely, yeah.
Yeah,
They
get your
say
favorite
also
ice cream flavor and stuff like that.
it's like I sent you my outline. You're exactly right. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh,
Ice cream is in my list.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So and they say like as a little kid, if you think
Mhm.
about the way like a toddler walks through a room,
Mhm.
it's kind of like they're tripping on acid. Like if you've
Yeah.
ever seen like someone really
Oh,
high on
totally.
mushrooms or acid or something,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
just like, whoa, look at this.
Yeah. And
And
that is how
anyways,
like toddlers are. Yeah.
mhm,
They just want to
yeah,
touch everything and laugh at everything or maybe cry
yeah,
at everything. Yeah.
right. And
Laugh and
then
cry in the same minute. Yeah.
totally, as soon as they're
Yeah.
done crying, they're happy to laugh again and then
Yeah.
cry
Throw
again. And
themselves
yeah,
down on the floor and then get up and hug you and then
right.
hit
It's a
you
lot
and
like
then
being
hug you.
super high.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, so like it's a good thing to be aware of if you're gonna do ketamine. Like this is kind of why a couple episodes ago we kind of laughed at the idea of like, or kind of groaned at the idea of going back to work immediately after an infusion.
Yeah.
So it's
Oh
like you
God.
don't
Yeah.
want to like go look at a computer screen and like be told what to do by somebody and
Yeah.
all that annoying stuff that can
Do
happen at
boring
work.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, you really want to like take those 3 days and like do fun stuff, like
Mhm.
visceral stuff. I would recommend like real simple pleasures, right? Like ice cream, friends, things like that.
Journaling.
Yeah. So like the other thing that I found is like you might also like weird things occur to you that might not otherwise occur to you. So you're like your brain is more like set to wonder, I guess, kind of also like a
Okay.
toddler
Yeah.
or a 3-year-old or whatever. And sometimes
Yeah.
they're big things like, oh, look at my past behavior. I might be drawn to people who are emotionally absent, for example, like some
Yeah.
like big, like kind of insight that you're like, oh, I either like that or I don't like that. Let me think about, whatever. It's something that you didn't
Yeah.
notice about yourself before. But it might also, like in my experience, be like smaller things like, man, I never make potato salad anymore. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I used to
Yeah.
love potato salad. Why isn't that in my life? Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
things that
Like,
you don't.
why is the sky blue? Or like, I really want to go for walks every day. Or like,
Yeah, completely. You're like, huh. You're just
because your
more
mind's
like
not just like stuck in your like daily rut of just like the
exactly.
grind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like big thoughts, and like
Yeah.
shower thoughts kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Um,
cool.
So yeah, I'd say
Shower
like
thoughts. It's funny you say shower thoughts. I feel like I don't have big thoughts in the shower.
I think I like listen to music and podcasts and stuff in the shower.
that's
So
nice.
I'm in the same boat. I never have those like wondering thoughts, but they say like sometimes like on long drives or in the shower, and your mind just like is unoccupied.
Yeah.
You come up with
Yeah.
weird.
Okay.
So yeah, some of the things that like my therapist recommended to me, for example, is like I live in Chicago, so he's like go to the lake, like be near some nature, find a good friend, eat ice cream, that kind of thing.
I would say go on the swings at the playground.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah, like things that are like joyful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roller skating.
I was just talking about. I wish I could roller skate. Dance.
You can.
Like that seems like one of the most fun. Like those like actual disco roller skating.
Yeah, we should roller skate when we see each other next.
Oh, I would love to do that. Can
I
you roller
honestly
skate?
thought of that when we were talking about meeting up. It's like maybe we could go roller skating. It actually occurred to me.
I would love to do that.
Yeah,
I haven't done that
fun?
in 20 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
All the
Let's
roller
not
rinks in
ration our
Chicago.
joy, Molly.
Amen. Love it.
Eat ice cream and go roller skating.
Go roller skating.
Yeah.
Day of joy.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. I like come to think of it. Like we won't be doing a ketamine infusion, but why not take a day every month, even if you're not doing ketamine, and just be like, or a day every week, whatever.
Yeah. To just say, hey, I'm just going to live joyfully. Absolutely.
Yeah, completely. I think like that is a very important point is like, if you only isolate these fun things to the 72 hours and you're really battling depression, you're not going to build the new patterns, right? You have to maintain them as much as you can anyway.
That's right.
And I think another thing to think about during the 72 hours is like, you don't want to reinforce those old habits, just like you want to build new habits. Like you don't want to like maybe go to work where you hate your boss or anything that makes you feel bad in general, like whether it's scrolling through social media, or like
Yeah.
if you kind of feel bad about yourself and you watch too much TV or whatever it is, you know?
Yeah. Don't do those things.
Yeah.
Because
Like,
then you're firing those neurons that make you feel bad, and then those neurons are wiring together, and then you're just like, you're wiring together feelings that make you feel bad, right?
Yeah.
Rather than ones that make you feel good.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I
That's
don't want to
important.
like stress it too much. You don't want to like worry yourself about it. Like, oh God, I better not do this. Oh God, I better not do that. Right. Because then you're kind of like building those worry habits also. Right. So you want to like take it easy in general. Like just be nice to yourself. Try to avoid things that make you feel bad. But if avoiding them makes you feel bad, you know, just take it easy. Be easy.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So another kind of in addition to like visceral pleasures, if there's anything you're working on in therapy or just working on by yourself for mental habits, like whether it's like self-talk that's encouraging or like cultivating gratitude, like those are good things to kind of practice during those 72 hours also.
Okay.
And then I wanted also to talk about like around the same idea, it's kind of maybe more tangentially related, is like the idea of like communication and relationships during the 72 hours especially. But it kind of branches out more broadly too. So like I think it's a really, really good idea to be very explicit with the person who drives you home. If you're able to get like a friend to give you a ride home from the infusion, or a family member, instead of, you know, it's better to do that than to like take an Uber or whatever, because you're kind of out of it. You kind of want someone who will have your back, or just, you know, be able to like walk you to the car or whatever, like someone to just help you stay relaxed. So
some
I would
Uber
say
drivers are really nice, but yeah,
that's
it's
true. I've had Uber drivers.
You don't know what you're going to get though. Yeah, it'd be nice if you could request your favorite Uber driver. That'd be
that's true, you know, in
when you have
general.
a really good one, and you wish you could like get that one again.
Yeah, dude, are you in the neighborhood? Yeah. Like we used to do actually in Tanzania. Remember what was his name?
Oh yeah. The guy. The guy that would be like Obama. What was his name?
I think his name was Ipiana. He was. I only remember because I
was. Oh no, that was. Oh, that I was thinking of. Yeah. That was the driver. I was thinking of the guy that drove the little what's it called? He had the flags.
Oh, the Bajaj.
The Bajaj. Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking of that guy. Remember that guy? The one he wanted to marry you?
Yes. Who drove us all the way from like Bagamoyo back to Dar.
Yeah. Oh, that was a different guy, I think.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Although that was funny too. The three of us in the back seat. No, I'm thinking of the guy that had like the like flags, the Tanzanian flags, and he would like wear a suit, I think. And he would like be like, Obama.
And he wore a full suit, and it was like,
he was young, and he would like talk to me about how he was in love with you and stuff. And
oh my God, I don't. I feel like I blocked that. I have no idea.
I know. I mean, things got a little weird when that happened. But yeah, he was funny.
So, what are we talking about?
I know. What were we talking
explicitly tell your ride home. Yeah. So like make friends with your driver is basically
get a good driver.
Exactly. Preferably an Obama supporter if possible.
Yes.
And I would argue like let them know that you're not just going to be a little loopy, but that you're going to be a little like sensitive, and that it'd be ideal if you could be coddled, like for real.
Yeah.
I know that sounds like a weird, be like, hey, pick me up, and also just don't care about yourself. Be nice to me. Focus on me, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think it's like, it's just a good idea to be clear, give clear instructions when you can, in general, to the people around you when you're suffering from like serious mental illness. When like chances are they are going to be grateful for the instructions. Yeah. Because like they're in it.
Otherwise they're not going to know what to do.
Exactly. And like they know you're struggling. They want to help. They don't know how. Most of the time there's like no good way to help. And so they want you to feel better. If there's instructions, they're going to be like, awesome. Hopefully. Yeah. And if they're not, like, at least you tried. And I would try to like explain about the 72 hours as well. And if you don't feel comfortable doing that, like send them this podcast, send them this episode.
Yeah.
And if you can, like find someone who can chill with you for a couple hours after as well.
Okay.
And that can just be a lot of fun. Like it might be pizza time, it might be ice cream time, you know. It might also be like, I find in my, like if it's someone really close to me that picks me up, it's like sometimes you get into like real deep conversations that you otherwise wouldn't. And you can like maybe be processing older stuff, or you might just be like realize that you both like have this shared memory of like someone who passed away, or, you know, like you just like, you end up talking about things that are more meaningful than might otherwise come up.
Okay. That sounds
I remember
nice.
my mom and I had this conversation about her mom who passed away, and it wasn't that serious, but all of a sudden I learned that my mom also doesn't like dill because grandma overdilled things. I was like, I don't like dill because she overdilled things. It's just like a strange, like, I thought I was the only one. Like, is that really too much dill? Mom was like, oh, it was way too much dill. Dill's fine, but you really only need a tiny amount.
Yeah. And now
but
both
she
of you are
grew
like,
it.
we can't stand it anymore. It's too much.
Oh, I hate it. Oh, I hate it.
Yeah.
My roommate brought home dill during the pandemic, and I was like a dill plant.
Oh, yeah.
And the whole house smelled like dill. And I was like, this just isn't gonna. Anyway, the point is like most episodes, just to like encourage you to experiment. Like,
but advocate for yourself. Sounds like it's an important part of this. Right.
Yeah. And like do the things that you enjoy. And then I guess like the last thing that I think is really valuable during this particular period is like more like do stuff that's like creative. So let's see. Okay, sorry. Before that, it can be helpful to listen to the integration recording. If you did, remember we talked about that, like if you did a session with your therapist immediately after the ketamine infusion, or even hours after or whatever, and you decided to record it, listen to it again, and it helps things like kind of sink in.
Okay. Like listen to it again the next day or whenever it seems good in that 72 hours.
Exactly. Yeah, because it'll help you kind of like wrap your mind around some of the things that occurred to you and understand them better than you might otherwise.
Okay.
Just kind of revisiting it.
Yeah.
And then finally, the last thing I was going to say was like make art.
Okay. Like what kind of art?
So whether that's like journaling, music, if you're not an artist and you feel like doodling, if you're, you know, you want to go dancing, you want to like dance in your kitchen to your favorite song, whatever it is that you personally enjoy. I think like journaling can be great because it's like a great time to have those insights and do that self-exploration. But it's also just like go dancing, you know, like go have fun.
Whatever feels good.
Yeah.
Something creative.
Yeah. Something expressive. Right.
Cool.
And the last thing I wanted to say about journaling, I feel like we talked about this, you and me, in the past. Lynn was like so earlier just now we were talking about cultivating gratitude or cultivating like pride in yourself and that kind of thing. And I think it was like Oprah who really popularized the idea of a gratitude journal. And there have been studies showing like cultivating gratitude, especially when you are in a low mood, can really like it does legitimately like help you lift your mood. And like once you start writing things down that you're grateful for, you start noticing them more in your daily life and it builds a new mental habit. But as like, so for me, especially when I was super, super depressed, writing a gratitude journal got kind of depressing because every day it was kind of the same thing. It was like, I'm grateful for my dog. I mean, and then the next day you're like, well, there's not a lot going on. I mean, my dog's still here. And you're like reading back through it. And honestly, I was like, this is kind of pathetic. I don't have a lot to be grateful for. It kind of had the opposite effect, you know?
That's sad.
Yeah. And eventually I realized that in therapy, I was starting to take like there's like an education term for it. What is it? It's like a problem-based approach to your life.
Okay.
There's a term for it that I can't think of, but the idea is like, you know, what is the word? Anyway, so like to flip it and to say like you want to have like an abundance approach, right?
Yeah.
So to say like
yeah.
this isn't a zero sum game.
Mhm.
I live in a world of abundance and like to be more creative about the future and things like that.
Okay.
And so instead of being grateful and like taking that kind of passive attitude and being like,
Mhm.
wow, something good happened to me today and I had nothing to do with it, I
Mhm.
decided to flip it and start keeping like a journal of things I was proud of.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
I would journal every morning, and just to get started, just to like not have the blank page be intimidating, just
Mhm.
start with the same sentence every day. That's like, today I'm proud of. And even if you got to like scrape the bottom of the barrel, it's like, well, yesterday I walked my dog 3 times, or like, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
but
I
also
made
eventually you start,
breakfast.
I ate.
Mhm.
Yeah. Eventually it does, you start to notice like other bigger things like, hey, I'm proud that like I might not be feeling better, but I'm working on it.
Yeah.
And that's not nothing, you know, that's
Yeah.
not always easy. And it did actually, like, it changed my internal monologue. Like, instead
Cool.
of always being like feeling passive and feeling like I had to fix problems, there
Mhm.
were things worth celebrating, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
That's
so
great.
that's like a nice habit, I think, that might be
Yeah. I love
worth
that idea.
visiting during those 72 hours or anytime.
Yeah. I love that.
And that's it. That's all I got
Cool. I think
for the
those are great
72
ideas.
hours.
I love it. That's really important because I feel like I can imagine that you could go into your ketamine infusion, you do it, you have an amazing experience, you hopefully have the therapist, you talk to your therapist, do the integration, and then you could sort of leave and go back into the world, and you're not taking full advantage of your experience if you don't have sort of a plan for how best to take advantage of it afterward.
Mhm.
So it's good to know about these 72 hours.
Yeah, and like
Mhm.
it helps you also kind of start in the right direction, right? Of like, these infusions are not just things you leave at the clinic, but
Yeah.
it's like a lifestyle. It's the beginning of a lifestyle change, or the beginning of like new abilities.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
And
I
you're
just remember, and I think we talked about this in one of the earliest episodes, or a couple of the earliest episodes, that one of the biggest things for you about ketamine, and that's made it so helpful and so different from other types of therapy, is that it's like changed, it's given you new ways of thinking, right? I forget exactly, like more healthy ways of thinking and feeling. I forget exactly how you put it. Something like that, right?
Yeah, I'd say like I feel more, like, definitely more psychologically healthy.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And I imagine that part of that is like, it's not just when you're in the clinic and doing it, it's what you've done in that 72 hours afterward, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The therapy, the integration, and then the 72 hours afterward. You're not just going home and going back to work, or going and sitting
Yeah.
and watching TV afterward, or whatever, going back to whatever you were doing before.
Completely. Especially really early on when I just started ketamine treatments, I tried to like kind of immerse myself in the experience of ketamine. So like I would, even just to like make it sink in more, like I was saying, I would like transcribe
Mm-hmm.
the recordings of the integration
cool.
sessions,
Yeah.
and go through and like circle things that I found important. And I mean, most of the time listening back to those recordings, like there's lots of surprises. Like I
Wow.
didn't remember most of the
Yeah.
conversation. And so it was really valuable to like
Interesting.
listen to it again and be like, oh shit, like you'd hate for those insights. I find this in journaling in general. Like it's
Yeah.
really important to go back and reread what you wrote.
Mm-hmm.
Because all the time, like I realize cool things and then forget them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you can't act on them if you don't remember that you realize something cool.
That's right. Yeah. So you've been really
So,
diligent about like getting everything you can out of this.
I mean, out of desperation. Yeah.
Well, that's great.
Like,
yeah.
And the thing is, like,
this.
this stuff is not covered by insurance. So like you're paying, like, there have been times when I had an $800 a month, and that's like after the big concentrated sessions. Like between lozenges and infusions, like I got an $800 a month ketamine habit. Like when you're living on less money, like it's no joke. You might as well put in the time.
Seriously.
Yeah. So, and you're kind of also hoping that like you don't have to keep it up forever, you know, so you want it to stick.
Yeah.
But that like goes back to the idea of the habits, right? It's like, yeah, you just want it to stick. You want whether it's the mood or the insight or whatever it is that you're emphasizing, like you want it to last. So that's the point. Locking it in.
Yeah.
Oh, and so speaking of pride journals, I forgot to mention this to you earlier, Lynn, but I was thinking we could start a new segment so if people write in or call in and leave a voicemail, I've stole this directly from the podcast. It's Been a Minute with Sam Sanders, which I loved.
Yeah.
They did at the end. Do you remember they did like the best thing that happened to me this week? And especially during the pandemic, it was like so nice to hear these like beautiful little snippets of people's lives. And so I was thinking we could do something similar, but that's like, tell us what you're proud of in the past week.
Yeah.
So write in, tell us a quick little story or leave us a quick little voicemail about.
That's a great idea. Yeah. I like that.
You're proud of.
Yeah. That's really good. I love it.
Okay, good. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah. I think that's great.
So, again, email us ketameineinsights@gmail.com, our voicemail. It's hard to find a number that's like good.
Okay. What defines a good number?
Like something that's like, 8787 or something that's like easy to remember.
Catchy.
555. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then again, like everyone in Chicago, and I think now everyone nationally knows the like Empire. What is it? The rugs? Do you know 588-2300? Empire? No, that's a local.
I have no
thing.
idea what you're talking about.
All right, never mind.
Sounds funny.
It's just a jingle that everyone in Chicago knows.
Okay, yeah, everyone in Chicago,
and it's like
not me. That is,
I guess
me.
not. I thought
I've
it went
never
national.
been to Chicago. I don't know any Chicago commercials or jingles or anything. The only Chicago radio I listen to is This American Life. WBZ.
Yes. There you go.
This American Life.
Proudly from Chicago, although Ira Glass no longer lives here, sadly.
Oh,
I know. All right. Anyway, thank you, Lynn.
Right.
I guess that's the end
Molly.
of our episode. About the 72 hours after.
Cool.
I just real quick.
Yeah.
Another thing. I had like a friend of one of my dad's friends, whatever, kind of like an uncle figure, would miss work. My dad worked with him when they were in their 20s, and he would miss work. And my dad would be like, "Where were you yesterday? Like, we needed you. There's only 2 people on the like painting crew or whatever, and you were gone." Yeah. And he'd be like, "Oh, I just did a bunch of acid and did a bunch of catnip, and I just played with the cat."
That's hilarious. He's like, it was just really important that I was there.
It was really important, right? The catnip and the acid. So it's you're like a toddler or you're like a cat on catnip during those 72 hours.
That's hilarious. I love that. Oh, gosh.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Lynn.
Thanks, Molly.
Ketamine Insights is hosted by Molly Dunn and Lynn Schneider. Our music is by Solid State Symphony. Do us a favor and send us an email to ketameineinsights@gmail.com with something you're proud of from the past week. Big things, small things, anything at all. Finally, please pick someone you know who likes interesting things and send them this podcast. Thanks so much. See you next week.